people of this region deserve the chance to live free from fear and violence, and today's agreement is a step in the right direction that we should build on. Now we have to focus on reaching a durable outcome that promotes regional stability and advances the security, dignity, and legitimate aspirations of Palestinians and Israelis alike.
Seeing Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in Egypt today announcing the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Gaza was not exactly something that could have been predicted when this week began. Hillary Clinton turns out to have been critical to resolving this Middle East crisis, the United States being cited specifically for playing a crucial role in getting the ceasefire, and Hillary Clinton physically being there and making the announcement about this ceasefire after 8 days of fighting between Israel and Gaza. It was frankly a testament to the power and the necessity of American diplomatic leadership in the world. That the ceasefire would happen was first reported at about 12:15 Eastern time this afternoon. Less than an hour after those first reports that it was going to happen, we got our first response from the Republican Party in this country. The Republican Party's response today came from, naturally, their foreign policy guy. There's only one, John McCain. John McCain, along with his shadow, Lindsey Graham, and their new third amigo, New Hampshire Senator Kelly Ayotte. They released a joint statement today praising the ceasefire declaration, but then adding, for good measure, quote, "What happens in the Middle East will impact America's vital national security interests for the foreseeable future, and stronger, smarter American leadership is desperately needed." Smarter leadership. Take it from John McCain. Remember, John McCain's big idea on foreign policy at the moment is that we should not have a Secretary of State at all right now. John McCain suggesting that he will personally block anybody from being confirmed as Secretary of State in the second term of the Obama administration. Because according to John McCain, UN Ambassador Susan Rice, who's a likely candidate for Secretary of State, she once said something wrong on the Sunday shows. In the days after the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi back in September, Susan Rice went on the Sunday shows and gave the administration's intelligence agency-approved talking points, explaining what the administration thought at that time had happened in Benghazi. And that, in John McCain's view, is unforgivable.
Maybe she could start out by publicly coming back on this show and saying, I was wrong. I gave the wrong information on your show several weeks ago. That might be a beginning.
But until then, John McCain will block her potential nomination and anybody's nomination. No Secretary of State for the United States of America until John McCain is satisfied. Susan Rice, for the record, did not give wrong information on the Sunday shows. She described accurately what the intelligence agencies were advising her to say at that time, none of which turned out to be particularly wrong. A spokesman for the Director of National Intelligence came out yesterday and said the intelligence agencies wrote and edited her talking points. Late tonight, Susan Rice responded to John McCain publicly castigating her over and over again.
I have great respect for Senator McCain and his service to our country. I always have, and I always will. I do think that some of the statements he's made about me have been unfounded, but I look forward to having the opportunity at the appropriate time to discuss all of this with him.
You know, even if it were true that Susan Rice had said something wrong on the Sunday shows, which is not true, Susan Rice saying something wrong on a Sunday show is the grave alleged sin that John McCain has single-handedly decided should be the basis for the first big fight that he wants the Republican Party to have with newly reelected President Obama. This is the grounds for him blocking America from having a Secretary of State at all right now. He will not confirm anybody to replace Hillary Clinton because he's so angry that Susan Rice, he says, supposedly said something wrong on a Sunday show. I mean, if you say something wrong on a Sunday show, obviously that's the end. Your career is over. The world has to come to a halt, right?
I believe that it will not be nearly as difficult as some allege. I believe that this conflict is still going to be relatively short. We're going to prevail. We will win, and it'll be one of the best things that's happened to America in the world for a long time, because it'll reverberate throughout the Middle East. Once democracy works in Iraq, the days of the religious extremists and the despots in the Middle East are gone, and the breeding ground for terrorism will begin to dry up.
What's our timetable? How much time do we have for Iran to stand down?
I don't know. I would think we're talking about a matter of months rather than years.
We're doing fine. We are closed in the last week. If we continue this closure next week, you're going to be up very, very late on election night. I guarantee you that 2 weeks from now, you will see this has been a very close race, and I believe that I'm going to win it.
If it's Sunday, it must be John McCain on television, frequently saying things that are wrong. Being wrong on the Sunday shows is obviously not a disqualifying thing in Washington, right? You don't have to stop being a senator or stop being a presidential candidate or stop being a major administration official just for saying something wrong on a Sunday show. It maybe should mean that you don't get to do the Sunday shows so much, though, right? This is all of 2012. Right here. We're obviously in mid-November right now. All of the dates in red on this calendar here, those are all of the Sundays we have had this year. This is how many times John McCain has been on the Sunday shows in that time. Yes. Listen, people are sometimes wrong. It happens. But that is probably not a reason for us as a country to not have a Secretary of State, right? I mean, when you are wrong a lot on the Sunday shows, it might be a reason not to keep putting that same old wrong guy on the Sunday shows every week. But not having a Secretary of State? No. And actually, there's no reason not to keep putting John McCain on the Sunday shows. Look, this Sunday on Fox News, John McCain appearing exclusively to share his views on Benghazi, all things foreign affairs. John McCain on a Sunday. Again, wow, I can't believe he was available